Alright, so here's the tier list for the Ghostface killers from the Scream franchise. Now we're just going to go in order as they are revealed in the films, starting with, of course, Billy. And before I even start to talk about Billy, we are going to throw him in the S tier, for obvious reasons. Billy's a fucking freak. This guy is so weird. It is so obvious he's the killer, but yet it becomes even more obvious that he's the killer, that it becomes implausible that he actually would be the killer. Skeet Ulrich does a great job with this character. He's, like I said, he's such a freak. Look at him licking the blood in there. It's such a funny and strange portrayal that sets the tone for the whole franchise, right? Does it get any better than Billy and Stu? Not really. And speaking of, I think these are the easiest to talk about, by the way. Like, Billy and Stu, nobody's going to argue that these both belong in S tier. And I am making this list prior to the release of Scream 7. So if you're watching this video after the release of Scream 7, go check out my nude list, because I am going to do one updated to the Ghostface killers from that. But I wanted to get one of these out ahead of time too, to sort of see my before and after. But I'm obviously a huge Matthew Lillard mark. So Stu is obviously one of my favorite characters long before even Scream 4 existed, you know? Matthew Lillard in this movie is almost more iconic than Skeet Ulrich, you know? And if we just talk about Matthew Lillard as an actor, his portrayal in this movie is somehow even more bonkers than Skeet Ulrich's portrayal of Billy. Now, when talking about the pair of Billy and Stu, like I said, it's kind of hard to say anything, but yeah, they're fucking awesome. They were acted awesome, written awesome, awesome all the way through. And then we get to Mickey, played by Timothy Olyphantastic. Now, this is an actor I actually think can be really good in the right circumstances. I really like Timothy Olyphant stuff. And in fact, I do like him in Scream 2. Thing is, I do think his monologue at the end is a little wonky. It doesn't exactly hit for me. It's funny and ironic that it takes place in the theater here at a college, because he gives theater kid energy at the end of this movie. But I do think that his time was limited in this movie. You know, it doesn't even seem like he's part of the main cast, even though he is. So we're going to throw him in the C tier. I want to like Mickey more, but I don't really care for him, you know what I mean? And he's sitting here making arguments that Terminator 2 is better than the first one, and that Aliens is better than the first one. Like, nah. And I'll die on that hill. Next up, we've got Nancy Loomis. Now, this portrayal is pretty excellent. I will give it that. It's one of those characters that the first time you're watching through, you just kind of feel like is there as an accessory to Gale. Kind of annoy and antagonize Gale, right? This character seems only important to Gale's story until the ending reveal. And you're like, holy shit. So the thing is, again, I don't think she has enough screen time to merit being the killer. But also, I love that twist. It's excellent. And I think her portrayal of crazy and crazed during her monologue is arguably better than Mickey's, which is why she's going to go a step above him in the B tier. We'd love to see a mother, you know, murder because of her son. And next up, we've got from Scream 3, Roman, who is the only solo working Ghostface. And it's revealed that he influenced both Billy and Stu in the first film, which is a very interesting retcon to make. It makes that whole monologue scene at the end of the first Scream seem like ego-driven teenager bullshit. Kind of works, to be honest, but again, I have mixed feelings on Roman as Ghostface. I don't think I hate him as much as everyone else. Definitely don't love him though, but I do like him a little more than Mickey. So we're gonna throw him in the B tier. How about that? I feel like my list is gonna be wildly different from other people's here, especially going forward here. I feel like you guys are gonna be hating on me in the comments, but I gotta do what I gotta do. Charlie is going in the A tier. I love Rory Culkin. I love these film geeks. Now I know that apparently Robbie was supposed to be the killer originally and not Charlie. Really don't care either way. Both of them are fascinating characters, but the only thing I really dislike about Charlie's character is he gives like incel vibes a little bit when he kills Kirby at the end of the movie. He's just like, you know, pissed that she wouldn't be with him. And then, like, she finally wants to, and he's like, oh, well, I've already planned to kill you now, so. A little goofy, but what are you gonna do? He seemed like the first killer since the first movie that actually cared about horror movies, you know? Mickey seemed more like he was into action movies, sci-fi movies, stuff like that. Clearly. Although Roman was a film director, you know what I mean? It seems like all of that stuff that he did was just to do with this end goal of killing everybody and stuff. And Nancy Loomis is obviously just getting revenge. So even Jill is not a character that's like well-versed in horror films. She just has friends in her circle that are. And as we're getting to Jill, this is going to be another possible shocker for some. But she's going S tier. I really like Jill. Fascinating character and portrayal, and I was very shocked the first time I saw it that she was the killer. I just genuinely didn't expect it. And I don't know if that makes me stupid, but regardless, she's still one of my favorites. And on to Scream 5, we've got Amber. Now this is fascinating. This is the second time I saw this actor, first time being Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where she gets set on fire, trying to murder people in a house, which is, interestingly enough, what happens to her here. But she has a wild edge to her, you know what I mean? People have been really enjoying her work, and although I've only seen a couple of her roles, I have too. However, I am throwing her character in the B tier, and this is going to be strictly because of her motivation. She moves into this house and becomes obsessed with the stab movies. Okay, I guess. I feel like you'd be more interested in the real murders, which I guess she arguably is. But out of these two killers, she does feel like the weaker one. Richie, played by Jack Quaid, I'm actually throwing him in A tier. And although his motivations do seem stupid at times, you know, I've seen people argue, well, no one's done this before, so why does it make sense that he would do it? I mean, you could say that about the first Scream movie. You know, Billy supposedly had his motivations, but ultimately was also just doing horror movie schlock. And Richie isn't obsessed with, you know, the actual kills. He's obsessed with the films. He grew up watching them. It's like us. It's very fascinating, and I really give it to Jack Quaid's performance more than the writing, to be honest. I think it was just done really well. And next up, we've got Richie's father, Wayne. When he was revealed to be the killer, you know, he was sort of trying to frame Kirby as being the killer. And I thought, there's no way they were going to actually have Kirby be the killer. I understood where they were coming from psychologically, but I was like, nah. This woman was way too much of a victim. You know what I mean? Like, I just do not see that happening by any means. And I was right. Of course, it was Wayne, and he was trying to frame her. Or at least lead suspicion off of his trail and onto her. And his motivation in it being a sequel and kind of referencing Scream 2 with the parents/family being the killers, I thought that was fascinating enough. But also, if we're talking about on a tier list level, my expectations were low for this. He's gonna be C tier, let's be honest. And then we're left with Ethan and Quinn. It seemed very obvious throughout the film that Ethan was the killer. We're not alone in thinking that. Like, he's just one of those people that gave off murder vibes. And he had suspiciously low screen time, which was like, okay, it seems like he's off doing shit, like murdering people. But I don't know. Just how he acts during the climax and everything, he's just kind of annoying. And some of these characters are like that, but he's going to be the only character in the D tier list. Because we're going to throw Quinn up here in the C, because I found them faking her death to be very fascinating, and her reveal to be coming back at the end. It's something, you know what I mean? Something different. Something we had not seen yet before in these films, and it just leads me to think about where they're going to go with Scream 7, man. Let me know how you guys would rank this in the comments below. What is different from my list? You excited for Scream 7? Quick thank you to my channel members and Patreon subscribers. If you want more ecto-violence, including exclusive videos and behind-the-scenes content, become a member by clicking the links in the description below.